couple of days ago when I made a video here in Sembalun in Lombok, I was struck by the character of the people and how friendly or ramah they were. This is the scene at the moment in the afternoon here in Sembalun. Most of the activity, I believe, happens in the morning in places like Sembalun, where it's an agricultural sort of place and people are up early going out into the fields. But I wanted to see what it's like in the evening. So that's what I'm doing today, is going for a bit of a walk to a different area of Sembalun that I haven't been to before, a different village, see what they're up to in town, see if there's anything exciting. I don't know. We'll definitely find something, that's for sure. This is the hotel I'm staying at. A few kids out the front. There's kids everywhere around here. The place I'm staying at is called Roman Villas, and it's costing about 700,000 a night, peak high season prices. And I reckon it might be a lot lower when it's not high season. It seems to be that sort of place. It seems to be a really strong European high season here, and if you come here outside of those times, it's going to be pretty quiet. Having said that, I've barely seen another foreigner here. I have seen some, but I could count the number of foreigners I've seen while I've been here, because I think what most of them are doing, I think most of them are going up the mountain, climbing Rinjani. So it appears, oh, nice veggies. It appears what's going on is that people are coming here, staying a couple of nights, climbing the mountain, and then going on their way, because this is the sort of the base for a lot of the climbing of the mountain. There are other places you can do it from as well. The locals tell me that in Sembalun, the great weather is usually early in the morning, and then as the afternoon sort of comes along, you get clouds rolling in, even in the dry season. Sometimes you get rain, sometimes it's just a little bit overcast. What we've got here is a bit of cloudy weather over there. It's Mendung. Over there, it's pretty terang, pretty bright and sunny. That is Gunung Dara, I believe. It's about 2,000 meters above sea level. I'd never heard of it until I got here, and the prominence from where we are is about 1,000 meters. So we're about 1,000 meters above sea level, or 1,100, something like that. So it's quite stark on the horizon when you see these huge peaks. These are the sort of prices around here. So you can get a nasi goreng with egg for 15,000. All sorts of different things. You get a bit of chicken in there, even rice and chicken for 15,000. So it's pretty cheap around here. The local food's really, really cheap. There isn't a lot of tourist food around here. There is a couple of places like doing Western stuff. They're pretty cheap as well, not that cheap, but most of the food around here that you will be eating is the local stuff, and it's yeah, mainly things like nasi goreng, noodles. Hello. A bit of chicken and rice. That's pretty simple food. That's what most of it is here. Because it's a farming place, there's a lot of fresh fruit and veggies being sold, and it just looks beautiful. Beautiful. The main crops that they tell me they're growing, and this is not from me looking at what's going on, but more about what they're telling me. Better get across before getting run over. They're telling me mostly strawberries and garlic and onions. But over here I'm seeing, yeah, that's all strawberries there, all strawberries up there, strawberries in there, there's a bit of lettuce over there. Yeah, so that sort of marries up with what they're saying. I can see a lot of people in the fields over there, and they look actually all the way along there. And they look like what they're doing is picking strawberries. So one of the famous things to do here for locals is to come up here and you can pick your own strawberries and pay by the kilo, one of those sorts of arrangements. And that's what it appears they're doing at the moment out there. This particular town has a lot of similarities for me in the way that it feels to a lot of places that I've been, mainly in Java, but also a little bit in Sumatra as well, where there are rural areas that are doing a bit of farming, often up in the hills, because that's where your best sort of fruit and veg farming happens. You have these pick your own type arrangements going, and the locals love to go up there on little picnics, go and pick a few strawberries, eat a bit of the local food, enjoy the cool air. It's just one of those things that people do. But what's really interesting about it is that a lot of them do involve strawberries. I don't know why. I know close to Bandung, there's a few places around there, Lembang and Chiwidere, they both do strawberry picking, which I've done before. I remember once when I went to a strawberry picking place and like they give you a bucket and you go and pick all the strawberries. Well, when I got there, like a group had obviously been through not long before we got there, so there were only these half-ripe ones. But because you've gone there and you've already got your bucket, you don't want to leave empty-handed, so you start picking all the half-ripe ones, hoping you can get something that's a little bit sweet. And so by the time we left, there were only like the unripe ones, and there were people who were arriving after us. So I guess it's one of those situations where if there are too many people going there, all you're left with is these half-ripe or unripe strawberries. But I will say that when we arrived at the guest house that we're staying at here, the lady herself, who owns the guest house, ran out into her own strawberry patch and went and picked a bowl, and they were all very sweet. I noticed in this particular area, a lot more of the Muslim women here are wearing a thing called a chadar. That's the thing that covers this bit here. It's not a burqa, I don't think. I think it's just a piece of cloth that attaches to the hijab. I don't know why. Like, maybe it's cold. I don't know if they're any more religious than other places, because we're very close to other, religious areas here in Lombok, and I don't seem to remember seeing it so much in other areas. It just seems to be more prominent here. I don't know why. Interesting, isn't it? In fact, I rarely see that all throughout Indonesia. The only place where I've seen a little bit of it, and not even that much, to be honest, was Aceh. I'd see more of it here. It's interesting because for me personally, and this is a me thing, it's my problem, but I actually find it difficult to interact with someone who's got a face covering like that. I find it to be sort of a bit of a barrier, and I try, but you can't see a smile so easily. You see a bit of a smile on the eyes, but you don't see the mouth talking. It's harder to, because I'm not a native speaker in Indonesian, I like to watch people's mouths as they're talking so I can understand what they're saying. Hello. So friendly, so friendly. Hello. Lagi apa? Nongkrong. Jualannya?
Ya, smoking?
No smoking. Good. Nggak takut untuk kesehatan nggak?
Nggak takut.
Nggak takut. Ya.
Udah biasa.
Udah biasa.
Diatur sama olahraga.
Betul sekali.
Olahraga, main bola.
Ya.
Lari.
Ya. Nggak batuk?
Enggak.
Ya.
Malahan lebih kuat fisik yang merokok daripada yang nggak merokok.
Mantul. Okay. Mari ya. Yeah. Okay. There you go. A bit of a life lesson on smoking around these parts. So you're getting back to the story. I find the physical barrier across the face, just for me, more difficult to have those personal interactions, and that's just the way it is sometimes, isn't it? I don't know. It's weird. It's a weird thing because it's more psychological, probably. But yeah, I did want to address the point because I think it's an important point. But I also want to acknowledge that it's actually me that has the problem doing the interacting. It's not a local thing where the locals are not nice. The locals here are some of the nicest Indonesians I've ever met, and I mean that. So I've been showing you the right-hand side over there. There's those fields of strawberries and stuff. Over this side, this is actually Rinjani up here. And you can see the top there. That's not the top of Rinjani, that's like a long way off. So what we can see there is probably about, from what I gather, about 1,800 meters up to the top of that. That's what they say on the map. And Rinjani is 3,800 meters. So it towers over the back of that, and you can't see it because it sort of slopes behind that. It's a pretty big volcano, like a massive, massive volcano. From what I've read, the volcano itself used to be a fully formed cone. And they say there was a mega eruption in the 1200s. This is going on, like, you know how they've got these ash things they can dig out of the soil, the layers, and they reckon that this particular volcano might have caused massive environmental changes and so forth, and exploded the top off the volcano. So it's a big one, but it doesn't seem to be so active these days. I mean, it is an active volcano, but it doesn't seem to be sort of causing too many dramas. A bit like Gunung Agung in Bali as well. It's an active volcano, but doesn't really cause so many dramas all the time. It might, but just not at the moment. That's pretty cool. You can rent outdoor gear here, so if you don't have it, you can get things like jackets and You can buy it if you want from there. Oh, they've even got boots you can rent as well, proper hiking boots. All the gear. That's a good thing about a place like this is that because there are people coming here to do trekking and so forth, getting in and out's easy with transport. There are all sorts of shuttles and transport services to anywhere you want to go in Lombok or to the airport or whatever. But also, ooh, that's it. Clothes racks, 35,000 for a shirt. That's cheap, isn't it? Hello. Look at that. That's good value. Yeah, but you can also get all your supplies here as well, which is pretty good. I mean, they're set up sort of like it's not mass tourism, but they've got tourists coming through here, so they've got the thing set up. What I am noticing a little bit more of though, which was a little bit unexpected, was that there are heaps of local tourists looking to climb Rinjani, and I can tell that because they're coming on motorbikes with big backpacks on, and there's trekking poles hanging out the side and that sort of stuff. So that must be a big thing for the local people as well, to come and hike Rinjani. Maybe not. Hello.
Where you go?
Jalan jalan.
Jalan.
Where are you go?
I go.
They might not be going to Rinjani. Like, you can camp up there, that Dara place, that Gunung Dara, or some of the ones over there that are now sort of in the clouds. There are quite a few places you can sort of trek and camp along here that are quite serious climbs. They're like a lot harder than somewhere like Gunung Batur in Bali. Maybe not quite as hard as Gunung Agung, but they wouldn't be far off some of these secondary peaks. But people don't do them because the main game is Gunung Rinjani. See, over in the back there's a peak over there. It's in the clouds just behind that tree, or just to the left of that tree, so about there. I looked on the map, that's about 2,100 metres above sea level. So if you had to do it from here, that's 1,100 metres of elevation gain. That's pretty serious to do in a day. You can do it, but geez, your legs are burnt afterwards. But I think the most I've probably ever done in a day is probably somewhere around 1,200. So this place is called Loka Coffee, and what they're doing is selling local snacks, the local production. You can see over here, seems to be some sort of kripik pisang, so like banana crackers. But they're also doing coffee here. Oh, they've got a bit of honey. But they do have coffee plantations around here. So what I've noticed is there are outlets that will sell the coffee beans, basically, because it's a specialty of the area. And what they'll say on the sign, "Ole ole khas lembah Sembalun," and what that means is ole ole is a souvenir, more or less. I mean, that's the best way to sort of describe it in English. It's not quite souvenir, but we'll just go with that anyway. So it's a souvenir, and khas means the specialty of Lembah, the valley of Sembalun. So that is a shop selling souvenirs from the special area of the Sembalun Valley. That's what it is. I wonder if I can go up in here somewhere where those trees are. Oh, they're eucalyptus. No, there's no through road. Yeah, that word ole ole is a really interesting one, because if you do travel around Indonesia to different towns, you'll always see ole ole from the particular town that you're going to, because it's a really big thing for Indonesians to buy a little something from a place and take it back home. And usually it's in the form of food or a local culinary product, like maybe coffee or something like that, rather than buying a fridge magnet or a spoon. You buy a souvenir that's food-based, because everywhere in Indonesia has its own specific food businesses or productions. I noticed that that's a massive thing in a place like Japan as well. Every train station in Japan, that's like on the main train stations at least, not every train station, but the bigger ones, they'll have a shop selling some sort of cake or biscuit from the local region that someone sort of invented. And they're always quite cool, you know. And what I have seen people doing is the businessmen who travel around a lot, before going home, will pick up a little box of neatly packaged biscuits that are quite well displayed and maybe individually wrapped to take back home to their families. It's not quite the same here, because it's not businessmen that are doing the travelling around and buying these things. It's more to do with the day trippers. What's that? Yayasan Syukur. I don't know what that's all about. They've got new students. Is that? Oh, pesantren. That's a Islamic boarding school. that one. They're really common throughout Indonesia. They'll get funding from somewhere, and then poorer families, it's not always poorer families, but if you don't have a heap of money, you'll get cheap or free schooling / accommodation there. I mean, it depends on the particular situation, but usually there's a donor who's helping fund those places. One of the great things about being up in the hills here is that it's quite cool. It's about 18 or 20 degrees from what I can feel. It's a bit chilly on the arms. When you get walking, it's not a big deal, but if you're just standing out here in the open, it is a bit cool. A lot of the locals here are wearing long sleeve shirts, jackets, and as the night goes on, everyone starts lighting up fires and sitting around fires at night, I've noticed. Hey, yeah, that's right. Hello. Hello. Give it a high five. There's another school over there, SD Negeri Nomor 2. So SD Negeri, that's the Sekolah Dasar, it's the lowest level of school. Hey! Oh, I'm getting high fives everywhere here. So the SD is Sekolah Dasar, the lowest level of school. So okay, primary school, infant school, from about 5 years old, something like that. And they are the most common ones around the place. So even in small villages, you'll have an SD, but you may not have the other levels that are above that. There's two other levels, SMP and SMR. And sometimes, if you're in a small area, you may not be able to go to an SMR at all because it's so far away from where you live that it's just not possible. You would have to live there. So that's a bit of a problem for some people. And here, I would say there'd have to be an SMR around here because it's a big area, but they might have to travel far for it. I'm not sure. I haven't seen it. I do love the friendliness of the people around here, but it brings up an interesting point, and I do feel a little bit uncomfortable sometimes about being praised because I'm a foreigner. That's basically it. And yeah, it just makes me a little bit uncomfortable because I know if my wife was walking down the street on her own, she wouldn't receive the same sort of response. I mean, it makes sense, but that does make me feel a little bit uncomfortable. It's interesting though. Like if we go to a lot of places in Indonesia, people will flock me and get selfies and all that sort of stuff. And Susan doesn't know what to do. Should she be in the photo or not? Quite often people are polite and say, no, you get in the photo too, but it's a little bit weird. I don't know. I mean, I do appreciate people being nice, but it's sometimes a little bit awkward, you know? That's why back there I wasn't sort of throwing my hands up, giving people high fives everywhere like I'm some sort of superstar. Hello. Hello, Pa. All right, I think I'm getting to the village now because I think that might be the mosque I could see from a couple of k's away. So I've walked almost 2 kilometres now to get here, and we're at another crossroads. So I've only been through here on the motorbike when I came into town a few days ago. Now that I'm here, I want to sort of get into the back streets a little bit off the main road and see if there's anything there. I'm not sure if I said it in my previous video about coming here, but I came along the north coast from the Gillies. Oh, someone's cooking chili and it's just gone down my throat. And the road across the north of Lombok is absolutely stunning. And in most areas, I'd say 80 to 90% of it seems to be newly laid and quite wide, quite safe. And you can go quite fast in a vehicle along there. Very pleasant drive and hardly any vehicles. Just brilliant. Here we go, here's the mosque. Not fully completed yet. That's pretty common though. They'll normally get a structure up and running straight away. And then as time goes on and they get more money, they'll add bits and pieces to it. Yeah, so coming here along that northern route, brilliant. Especially if you're coming from somewhere like the Gillies. Easy to get across here, just so easy. And just a beautiful drive. No stress whatsoever. Yeah, really good. What have we got over here? Got some signs. Kelompok Tenun, Lembah Rinjani. So this is the name of the area. Oh, look at that. New Zealand Official Development Assistance. Yeah. Hello. Lagi apa? Nggak tahu. Okay, Bukit Selong, Rumah Adat. Oh, Rumah Adat means a traditional house. I will get up there then soon, but I might go into the village first. Yeah, okay. I'm gonna go in. A nice, neat and tidy village, this. Jalan-jalan, Bu. Boleh? Boleh. Ya. Lihat situasi di desa. Seems that they use the word dusun here a lot as well, which is the word for village, whereas in other parts of Indonesia they may not. I mean, it's an Indonesian word, but you don't hear it as often, like in Java, for example. There we go. In the village. All these drawing bawang putih or garlic. Hello. Okay. This is pretty typical village life here in Indonesia. I mean, everywhere you go in Indonesia, it's fairly similar when you get into these alleyways. Yeah, be polite to people, say hello. Hello. So I might be going to a dead end here. I reckon I am, because I can see like some sort of river coming up, which is a little bit unfortunate. I don't want to have to walk back the same way I came. That'd be pretty embarrassing, won't it? We'll see. Oh yeah, I love it. I love it already. I can see heaps of bamboo. Oh yeah, big bamboo fence. What else is going on? There is some sort of river. Yeah, I've got a funny feeling that might be the river I went to the other day, but just at a different point, which is over there. There is a guy in there. I don't know if he's fishing or going to the toilet. Oh no, he's fishing. So that I don't have to go back the same way I came and say hello to those people again, and they're wondering what this guy's doing walking up and down their street. I'm going to try and get down to the river and see if I can get around this way. And I still may not be able to get through. We'll see. We'll see. It's not looking great, to be honest. Not looking good at all. Oh, I'm almost able to get through there. There seems to be a road over there, but I don't think I can do it. I'd have to get up and around there. Nah, that's too difficult. Too difficult. Yeah, go back the same way I came. Oh, maybe I can do that. Get across there. No, that's a bit too much for me. Okay, the walk of shame, the same way I came. Done that plenty of times before. Oh no, I can get down here. This could be someone's front or backyard, or it might be a little shortcut. Oh man, I found a little a back alleyway. Not sure what that is, some sort of old rice storage perhaps? Now we're in the real kampung, love it. I love the village life here in Indonesia. No matter where I am, I always have a good time. Yes. Now there's an area here that I know connects. Hello, Pak. Because I saw this from when I was down at the river. Seems to be a lot of cows down here. Cow storage area. Yep, there we go. Oh, cute cows in there. Oh, heaps of cows. Heaps of cows. This is the cow tycoon. He owns all the cows in town. Often what they'll do, they'll save these beasts up until Ramadan time, because at the end of Ramadan is the time when the prices of everything goes up and you get a good price for your animal. But you can also do it at another time of year called Idul Adha, and at that time of year they do slaughter goats and these cows, and you get a good price for them then as well. Might cross the river. Seems to be a decent road, it must go somewhere. I did notice a local just up ahead going across here with a big hiking backpack on. Now I wonder if they're trying to hike that hill that we saw from a distance that isn't Rinjani. But they look lost as well because they're not too local. I say local, but I mean local as in like Lombok people. What's going on? Ooh, there's more people here. Hello. They're asking for directions. Oh, making a new road. So this is a bit of a problem. Nice area. I mean, up here, huge tree with some stairs going up the top. I'm not sure what. Oh, hang on, I know what it is because there's a sign there. Hello. There is a sign. So it says, "Selamat datang di Bukit Selong. Bukitnya para penikmat keindahan 10 menit." Does that mean I can go up there in 10 minutes? That's what it looks like. I might go. Hello, ada loket.
Yeah, and buy ticket in here.
Oke, tiketnya berapa?
10.000 aja.
10.000 aja.
Iya.
Ada diskon?
No.
Nggak ada diskon.
Iya.
Kalau beli satu gratis.
Kalau 3 baru.
We can negotiate. There's only me on my own, so I'll pay my 10,000 and get up there. All right, we're going up. Now, I just had to look on the map because that big mountain we saw in the distance is not a 10-minute hike, it's like a 10-hour hike. And apparently there's some sort of mini viewpoint here. So I guess that's what we're going to, 10 minutes. I mean, it couldn't be too stunning, could it? Because a 10-minute walk up some steps doesn't get you very high. I was just on my way up and then I saw a sign saying Petit Lasan, Majapahit. And Petit Lasan is like a historical marker or place. Okay, Makam Majapahit. Well, Makam is like grave or graveyard or whatever. So I'm not sure what the story is because Majapahit is obviously an empire that existed here across Indonesia and large parts of Southeast Asia. A vast empire that ruled in a not much of a top-down way, but more of a well, it sort of had control militarily, but had these autonomous regions, and it's a key part of Indonesia's history. Majapahit is Indonesia, basically. It's just such a significant part of their history. It was based in Java, in East Java. That was where it sort of centered on a place called Trowulan, which still exists today. And it was largely a Hindu empire. But they also had Buddhist aspects and that sort of stuff as well. So that little grave there is some sort of relic of that empire. Getting above the trees now, and I'm absolutely busting a lung. Well, we're not at the top yet, but we're already getting just some phenomenal views. Look at that sunset over there. I thought the sun had already set behind some of the mountains, but clearly, if you get high enough, it still hasn't. Rinjani is in that area, but you can't see it. But gee, those mountains are just so vast, so tall. Let's keep going. Finally arrived, and now we've gotten to another valley of farms. Different to the other valley. The other valley's behind me, and it's just beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. That mountain there is seriously tall. It doesn't look tall on the video, but it is seriously tall. There's other people up here getting photos. There's the sunsets, and then we move around to this side. That's the side there that I'm sort of staying in. I'm probably staying like there somewhere. I'm in that little cluster there. Which one I actually don't know. Crazy, isn't it? Maybe that gives a bit of sort of an idea of how big that thing is when I zoom in just a little bit. It's just an immense mountain. You can go up there and camp, no problem. It's just one of many around this area. Over in this direction, well, you've got that's that Gunung Dara or Anak Dara up there. You can actually see over here as well. There's a little viewpoint over here that apparently you need to go down again to get to, and there are people getting a photo there. Great little spot, isn't it? Especially when you look at what the context is. It's actually paradise. I think this is a very underrated part of Indonesia, and I'm surprised that I haven't been here before and I hadn't heard more about it being this good, because it is very good. It's a fair-sized town below. Like, that is a fair-sized town. Look at it. All right, we're going down again. We ain't got time to stay up here too long, because I know that in the tropics, that sun gets below the horizon and it goes pitch black. But there are still heaps of people here. I don't have a torch or anything with me, because I wasn't really expecting to hike. But, you know, when you're cruising around and you see things like this, well, you just got to check it out. I'm so glad I did. My research when I come to places like this is usually pretty poor. I didn't really know that this was here, and I should have done, because it's actually a great little tourist attraction. Although, having said that, there are very few people here anyway. Like, this, anywhere else in the world would have like 1,000 people up there watching the sunset. If it was in Bali, it'd be filled with people watching the sunset. But here, sort of a bit of a low-key thing, but I think it's amazing. One of the things I notice about coming up and down hills like this these days is that I'm just not really built for it anymore. Because being in Sanur, I run in Sanur where there's no hills. So I get a lot of really good cardio and I can run really quite well on the flat. But, there we go, slipping a bit. When you get a hill these days, I just die, just can't do it. So yeah, that's one of the problems of living in the south of Bali where we live. No hills, so I don't get any of that sort of hill-based exercise. I'll need to build some exercise on hills up though, because I am going and doing a fair bit of walking in the rest of the year in Japan and Spain, so I'm going to need it. If not, I will get my fitness on the trek itself, which is not a great way to get your fitness. A couple of good Indonesian words for you. Naik is go up, turun is go down, Bukit is hill. That's a really good one, Bukit. You see Bukit everywhere. You don't have to say gunung, which means mountain. There are lots of Bukits around. And yeah, if you want to go up, you usually naik. If you want to go down, you turun. There are very specific climbing terms, and you'll hear them from time to time, like Mendaki Gunung, but it's not that common. Yeah, Naik Gunung or Naik Bukit is a lot more common in the general language usage. Steps, they're tangga. Really important word is tangga, because it also goes into words like ibu rumah tangga, which is a housewife, or even just the word rumah tangga, which is the household. Another word that I use immediately when I got to the top of that little hill there, to the locals who are all looking at me like huffing and puffing like you wouldn't believe when I got to the top, I just said capek, and that just means tired. Yeah, just tired, capek. There are other specific words when it comes to tired that you can use as well, but that's sort of the more broad one that you'll hear a lot of people using for just general tired. The other thing about that is you don't need to use a full sentence. When you say capek, like you get to the top and just say capek, people know that you are saying, oh, I am tired. You're just saying tired, and it makes sense. So in Indonesian, you can often cut off the pronouns like I or you and that sort of stuff, and it becomes a more, well, it's not more polite, but a more less direct sentence, because direct sentences sometimes can feel a little bit sharp. Putting I too often can sometimes sound wrong, and definitely saying you. Makasih. Ya? Cepat. Ya, lumayan.
Belum nunggu sunsetnya bentuknya.
Ya, nanti gelap. Nah, makasih. Yeah, and definitely saying you sounds odd. Like you can do it, but it can sound, especially in some contexts, can sound very very direct and very sometimes rude. And like if you want to be rude to someone and you're shouting at them, you actually do it. Hello. Hello. If you want to be rude to someone and you're shouting at them, having an argument, people will say, come on, come on, you know, you will shout that word. Whereas in normal conversation, you sort of avoid it a little bit. You say, well, you can say it, but you try and avoid saying you as much as possible, most of the time. There is a polite way to say you, and it's under, but it's not common. Like you don't hear it very much. And because kamu can sound a little bit direct and a little bit sharp, you often refer to someone in the third person. So if you know the person's name, you can say something like, oh, Susan doesn't want to go there, asking if they don't want to go there. Or, oh, Sir doesn't want to go to the restaurant now. Oh, like it sounds weird in English, but in Indonesian, it's totally normal. Well, I reckon I'm just about done for this evening here. It's going to get dark pretty soon. That sun's almost going below the horizon, not quite. And I'm looking for something to eat. So I really love it here. It's actually my last video here on this Lombok series. I'll be heading back to Sanur very soon. Well, that's the plan anyway, unless I get stuck somewhere. So look, I've really enjoyed exploring Lombok once again, and I really thank you for coming along for the ride. And thanks for watching. Make sure you hit that subscribe button to keep up to date with all things Sanur and the rest of Indonesia. I'll catch you next time, and sampai jumpa.